Andrew, we got a Fossil Friday to do. You need to wake up. Time to go.
Hi, this is Andrew at the Wyoming Dinosaur Center, and this is Fossil Friday. I broke something earlier, and I'm in hiding, adopting a strategy that I've come to be very fond of, that I adopted from this wonderful creature right here. So this is my Pelta, and it's a species of Jurassic ankylosaur. The ankylosaurs are a remarkable group of prehistoric creatures for one reason, and well, for so many reasons, but the main reason we like them is their armor. You can see it's got this wonderful armor coating covering its entire body. And well, that's an intriguing thing that's puzzled scientists for a long time and led to some really dramatic ideas that unfortunately I'm going to have to change for you today. But hey, that's all in the fun of paleontology. So first, let's take a look at my Pelta from the late Jurassic, one of the earliest ankylosaur relatives that we know of. And you can see it's already showing the signs that would lead to the fame and fortune of the ankylosaurs. So it's got a very bony armored head, and then it's got a series of plates and spikes going all along its back, along its side here, very sharp backwards curved spike, could really do you some damage. But what's most interesting, if you follow me back this way, there's no tail club. There is no large, massive bone that is what the ankylosaurs are mainly known for. It's the armor and the huge club on the end of the tail that they would use for swatting at the legs of meat-eating dinosaurs that came a little too close for a bite. And that's always been the notion. I mean, why else would you have a giant tail club like that? Well, one of the great things about the Dinosaur Center is you can see how animals change over time. So we can observe the changes in the ankylosaurs amongst other dinosaurs. Like we've got the main guy that would have wanted to take a bite out of my Pelta right here, Allosaurus. If you get the fossils, which we find a lot of here in Wyoming, you can see how large, long-legged, long-armed, medium-sized head meat-eaters were replaced over millions of years by the long-legged, puny-armed, very big-headed meat-eaters like Tyrannosaurus. By the end of the Cretaceous period, Allosaurus and its kin were entirely gone. So what does that mean for the ankylosaurs? What sort of changes do we see? Well, my Pelta is just one animal. We can't really observe the trends and changes over time. But what we can do is look at a close relative. So come along with me. I'm going to take this just in case I'm still on the run. Yeah, I broke a bone I wasn't supposed to. She could be anywhere. But yeah, come on. So we don't have more of my Peltas, but we do have this creature right here, Gastonia from Utah. Gastonia is another species of ankylosaur, and if you look at the two, you might notice that they're not very different. My Pelta has the same small head, and it has the same series of plates and spikes, the big butt plate, forgot to mention that earlier, going all the way down to the tip of the tail. But what do you not notice there? No tail club. There still is not a tail club in the ankylosaur family. Well, that's an interesting problem. What that tells us is that their main defense wasn't the club, but it was the elaborate series of armor. And what's the purpose for that armor? Well, you might have noticed my cunning disguise was to hide under a blanket. And as we all know, blankets are the wonderful means of defense from monsters when we're kids. That doesn't really work, or well, I still like to believe it does. But anywho, the idea behind the armored covering is that this would provide a nice shell that would be nearly impossible for predators to bite into. They'd break their teeth, they'd snap off if they bit into it, but also they're real spiky. So imagine stepping on something like that. You ever step on a Lego? Imagine stepping on that, except it's on the back of a 2-ton creature. So the armor was the main defense. So what I like to say is, with such an armor arrangement, and notice that it's all on the top, there's no armor on the underside of the creature, the best defense was to just hunker down. See, usually when you see these guys in paintings and in movies, their default is to swing around and swing that tail club and hope that they can use that big old massive club to hit a nice skinny leg. But the more likely alternative was they just plopped down and hunkered, maybe even slept it out until the threat passed and it could go about their day. That's why the armor's on top, no need on the bottom, because that's being covered up and tucked under, if you will. So it's a really interesting defensive strategy. And we see this from the very beginnings of the ankylosaur family, when the tail club is a much later addition to the ankylosaur sort of look, if you will, the physique. So what was that tail club used for? Well, we're going to have to save that for another day. But hey, a fascinating little defensive feature in the ankylosaurs. You just hunker down, you sleep it out, and the threat passes. So I hope you enjoyed that today. This is Andrew at the Wyoming Dinosaur Center, keeping your Friday fossil. Oh God, she's coming.